sure that mic works okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Angela Woosley. I'm a certified celebrant, and I'm so honored to be with you today as we celebrate, commemorate, and honor the life of Janel Aikens. We're here to commemorate her death, but more than anything, to celebrate her life and pay tribute to a woman who was selfless, patient, courageous, and judging by our crowd here today, loved. We come together today at the end of a dizzying roller coaster. And now that it's over, you might be asking yourself, what are we left with? You may find yourself experiencing a dizzying array of emotions, from sadness and confusion to anger, relief, guilt, exhaustion. I want you to know that whatever you're feeling today is okay, and that we're here together to honor those feelings and to find hope for the future. Rabbi Earl Grollman once said that grief shared is grief diminished, and it is our hope that by sharing stories of our adventures with Janel here today, that will soothe our aching hearts. But first, I'd like to take a moment to just ground us and connect us together. Go ahead and let your eyes either close or just gently unfocus and start trying to draw deeper breaths. Rest comfortably in your chair. Take a deep breath and bring Janel into your thoughts. As you continue to take slow, deep breaths, let your feet rest on the floor. Let your arms relax. Let your shoulders drop away from your neck, and relax your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Take another deep breath here and let your mind focus on your love for Janel. And next, recognize that we are all of us, collectively, here and live streaming. We are all thinking of Janel at this moment. We are all here with the same purpose, the same hope, and the same love. We are connected at the heart and united by our shared love. Take one more deep breath in, and when you're ready, let it out. Open your eyes and be present here with one another. Oh, I really have my work cut out today. I am not sure exactly how to summarize a person like Janel. She was an athlete and sports enthusiast, a homegrown chef, a talented gardener, a craft beer aficionado, a petty glassware thief, a shrewd haggler, an animal lover, a Star Wars fan, a prankster, a world traveler, a wife, sister, aunt, mentor, an incredibly close friend. She played and appreciated many sports, especially bowling, football, soccer, and basketball, and even a touch of baseball. Go Cubs. She played in both bowling leagues and soccer leagues, and she even earned a spot bowling in Australia about 20 years ago at the Gay Games in Australia, and another one then following year or two playing soccer. She brought home gold medals for her efforts. She was an incredibly talented cook who Brody said would come and play chef and make bomb food every time she visited Utah. Her beverage of choice was usually Amstel Light, but she also enjoyed and appreciated craft beer and assorted mixed drinks, though she was also notorious for acquiring or liberating glasses from the various breweries she visited. To her credit, she would always ask if it was okay to take them. However, they were going home with her regardless of the answer. Maybe drinks just taste better out of a glass you had to work for. She would also work to get a deal wherever she went. Whether it was clipping coupons or using Groupons, convincing staff at baseball games to rustle up bobbleheads they were supposedly out of stock of, buying t-shirts at the beach, or just shopping for gadgets and tools either around town or at the state fair, Janel was a shrewd negotiator. Most people didn't know what they were in for when they heard her say, "Here's the dough." Janel was also mischievous and had a funny way of showing her friends she cared, usually by leaving day glow, glow-in-the-dark, and light-up gifts in her friends' yards and homes. Glow-in-the-dark gnomes in the backyard, surprise solar lights and luminaries everywhere, glowing lawn flamingos in the front yard, a glow-in-the-dark cross or a glowing baby Jesus at Christmas time, frozen pants, a clown in the basement that glows red. Who would be sad to see that? I feel like she wanted to give the astronauts something to look at when we finally land on Mars. And when she helped Kim paint her deck in Utah, instead she got into a paint fight with the kids. And that poor house still bears the scars of that fateful battle. As you can tell, Janel was the type of person who marched to the beat of her own drum. She could act as a mediator between people, but she also had no problem setting and maintaining good boundaries. No matter what obstacles she faced, she overcame them. At her core, she was a survivor. She started at college in northern Wisconsin, but luckily for all of us, fate brought her to the Twin Cities. She began working at Toro and remained there for 35 years, working in IT as a budget analyst and an asset manager. While working full-time at Toro, she earned both her bachelor's degree and an MBA. Oh, and on top of that, she also volunteered 9 years with Toro's Genesis Works program, mentoring kids to help them attend college. Janel didn't have an ounce of quit in her, to the point where she was working from home the day after she registered from hospice. As her friend said, she got in her big magic chair, put her headset on, put her professional poker face on, and got into the next meeting. But she also knew how to really relax. Janel and her wife Karen traveled the world together, soaking up the sun in places like the Cook Islands, Mexico, Costa Rica, Jamaica, and the Dominican Republic. And just a few years ago, they traveled to Ireland, where there wasn't much sun to soak up, but there was plenty of Guinness. At home, Janel and Karen filled their house with love and an extended menagerie of animals. At any given time, there have been several dogs and cats, hundreds of fish, and even the occasional parrot and octopus. Her childhood dog, Mindy, would occasionally escape and get pregnant, which may have led Janel to work at a pet store as one of her first jobs. She was an animal lover from a young age. She also brought her work with her throughout life, bringing animals to family and friends, saying to her sister, "Each of these kids needs their own dog." Thanks, Janel. But she didn't stop at just caring for animals. She cultivated a beautiful garden every year with Karen. They had a perfect system. Karen paid and Janel planted. From their rose bushes and bright orange azaleas to their abundant vegetable garden, their backyard was a sanctuary. Okay, so now had Janel run out of caring after mentoring kids, every animal on the planet, and every plant in her backyard? Not by a long shot was she done. Likely you are here because of the way she cared for you. She selflessly put everyone else first, always thinking and worrying about others and how she could help them. She even participated in an experimental drug trial during her cancer treatments in the hopes that it would benefit other women fighting cancer. This generosity and selflessness may be the loss that cuts the deepest today, because it is increasingly so rare. Janel gave us so many gifts over the years, but she herself was the gift. And thanks to her kindness, patience, and love, that gift continues to give right here in this room and across the state. The family has selected several songs today that encapsulate their relationship with Janel. Our first song is for every time Janel went to treatment, to chemotherapy, to the hospital. It's for every boundary she drew, every truth she told, every breath she took. Every single time, she was courageous, fearless, and brave. Here's Brave by Sarah Bareilles. I think we need to start with that one from the top. Get the full effect. read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time they spent alive on earth. And now only those who love them know what that little line was worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend that dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. To be less quick to anger and show appreciation more and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say and how you lived your dash? That was The Dash by Linda Ellis. I think we can say with certainty that Janel was proud of how she lived her dash. Next, we'll hear from close friends and family who shared memories and messages to honor Janel. We'll start with thoughts that her wife Karen has prepared, and she's asked me to read them on her behalf. As I sit here trying to find the words that truly capture Janel, or Jay, as she was known to many of us, I am struggling to come up with words that portray her essence. I did come up with the fact that she was one of the smartest, most generous, creative, and loving people I have ever met. She loved me unconditionally, and that is not easy to find in this crazy world. All I can think of is how much cancer has taken away from me. I certainly did not think I would be writing a eulogy for another significant and important woman in my life. The first eulogy I had to write was for my 4-year-old daughter, Ashley, who also died in 1997 from cancer. And fast forward now to 2021, the second for my wife, Janel. I guess parallels can be drawn between these two people. They both would do anything for anyone and always took care of everyone first before themselves, no matter what. I also do not get to spend the rest of my life growing old with Janel, much like I did not get to see Ashley grow up. Cancer can suck it. Janel and I met in March 2006 when 6 of 6 won the bowling season and we saw each other at the townhouse. According to Janel, I used a bad pickup line on her. Don't I know you? But the truth of the matter is, I really did want to know who she was. I really did recognize her from the Toro Saints game. And guess what? That line worked. We made a bet of who knew each other's name, and believe it or not, I lost. Janel asked me on a date and made my favorite food, chicken, green beans, and potatoes. One of the things that first attracted me to Janel was that she was an avid reader. When I asked her what she liked to read, she said Diana Gabaldon. And unbeknownst to me, these books are 1,000 pages long. As a surprise once, I took Janel to the Harmar Barnes & Noble, where she met Diana Gabaldon and got a signed copy of her book. She was so thrilled. Janel was an amazing cook and loved to experiment with flavors and food. It was her creative outlet. I benefited from many delicious creations. One of her finest dishes was scallops with Thai peanut sauce. I know you may be asking yourself how this came to fruition. Well, here's the dough. I took Janel on a date for her birthday called Fish First at the Minnesota Zoo. There were several local chefs cooking sustainable fish and seafood. There was also a sommelier to consult for wine pairings. Needless to say, I lost Janel for an hour or so, to no surprise to people who knew Janel. She was hanging out with the chef from McCormick and Schmidt, who was teaching her how to cook scallops. In addition, the chef also gave Janel his very own Thai peanut sauce recipe. I have definitely missed her cooking, as much as Janel missed eating. You could say she won me over through my stomach, but it was the fact that her cat Jazz liked me from the get-go. Jazz did not like people, and I did not like cats, so it worked out. Janel was an incredibly smart, loyal, and generous person, working for Toro for 35 years. She loved building the Genesis Works high school internship program over the last 9 years, engaging with many individual, unique, and talented kids. She truly enjoyed being a supervisor and a mentor. She also volunteered her time and skills for Habitat for Humanity, as well as Feed My Starving Children and many AIDS-related charities. One of Janel's great loves were animals. We always had a couple dogs, she says a couple dogs, cats, and many fish at any given time in our house. She could never kill any animal, even the mice that decided to take up residence in our cupboards. Janel would always take them back outside and let them go. I cannot imagine why they kept coming back each season. Ish. Janel and I shared a love of sports, whether playing, watching, or doing fantasy leagues. Janel played indoor and outdoor soccer for several years. She would often play a full basketball game and then go bowl 3 games immediately after. Janel and I bowled together for over a decade. She was a bit salty when we came back from Ireland in 2018, and I bowled the best series of my career, a 587 scratch. I hope I'm saying that right. You can tell I only do gunners. We loved watching pro football. Her favorite team was the Denver Broncos, but she also liked the Vikings. I made her a Chicago Cubs convert, and in fact, one of our dogs is named after the famed Wrigley Field. The Cubs finally won the World Series after 108 years. I think that Karna's trying to imply that naming the dog helped them win the World Series, but you know what, it's fine. Janel was a passionate gardener and nature lover. Each May, she would drag me to Gerton's, where I would pay, and she would pick thousands of wonderful flowers to beautify our home. She would also plant a garden filled with herbs and vegetables, many that we used to make salsa, chili, and mojitos. We loved to travel together, and one of our best trips was to Provincetown, P-Town, Massachusetts, for Women's Week. Janel ate whole lobsters every day of the trip. One of our adventures brought us to the Red Inn, where we discovered the Tea-Teeny, highly recommended by the local lesbian bartender, and these did not disappoint. They were goddamn delicious. As we waited for our table, Janel welcomed each new woman into the bar, offering each a Tea-Teeny. Before you knew it, she had the entire bar engaged in shenanigans. This culminated in the slippery lobster incident. Seated at a table by the window overlooking the ocean, Janel began to cut into her nightly lobster dinner. But the lobster had a mind of its own, and thud, the entire lobster, the slippery sucker, shot off the table, hitting the window. That night, we all laughed all the way back to the condo. What a night it was. Even though Janel and I were together for 15 years, there was so much more she and I wanted to do. Go for a hot air balloon ride, visit the Galapagos Islands, go to Fiji, move to Arizona, or simply live on an island. Over the last year, Janel was unable to eat, drink, or do many of the things she enjoyed. Janel time was island time, and I know that she is somewhere eating steak and lobster, drinking an Amstel Light, and living well on island time. I love you and I miss you. Those are some unforgettable memories, Carmen. Thank you for preparing that. I know it was a labor of love. Next, I would like to invite Janel's sister, Kim, to share some thoughts. Just kidding. Okay. Kirsten's going to read on Kim's behalf. Jan, you're going to take care of your own, right?
I agree.
Oh, right. All right. Kirsten, come on.
Janel was a daughter, a sister, a wife, and a friend, but to me, she was my aunt. For me, the one thing I will always remember is how she always showed up. She showed up for some of the most important events in my life. My softball games, my graduation, my wedding, my daughter's first birthday, and one of the most recent and stressful times in my life, going through a custody hearing. The energy she brought was calming and supportive, and she was just there. She was very realistic about the situation. Janel always lived in the now, in the moment. I swear her motto was, let's do it. By the time, the time we were at the state fair in 2019, our whole family had come out to visit, and our family was ready to go back to the hotel after a long day. But my brother and I wanted to hang back and explore more of the fair, close it down and watch the fireworks. Or the time we were drunk at the Twins game and we decided we'd wake up early the next day and spontaneously go get family tattoos before our flight out. These are some of the many moments we'll always remember with her. When we were younger, I remember her coming to visit, and we always knew we were going to get bomb food. She was definitely the cook in the family. We looked forward to some type of seafood dish, usually crab legs, scallops, and shrimp, or some sort of recipe she picked up on her travels, like this baked banana molasses dessert or her unique style bruschetta appetizer. This past year, my brother and I have done our best to show up for Janel. We came last summer to help after cancer treatments and run errands, or to help in any way we were able to. I came out here in the beginning of May to show up again and get more time. In this limited time, I feel like not only was I able to better understand her, but also better understand myself as an adult. She offered a different perspective on life. She was a light to me, along with many other people in her friends and work group. We want to thank everyone here and everyone else out there who loves her as much as we do and showed up and supported her throughout her life. We're very grateful for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten. Next, I would like to invite Jan Hicks.
All right,
All right.
let's do it.
Exactly.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We really appreciate it. Janel and Karen have been our friends for quite some time, and we miss her, and we're prepared for saying farewell to her today. And I'd like to share with you some of my recollections of the many loves that she had, because there were plenty. You've heard already about adventure and travel and food and drink and family and friends. She loved Star Wars almost as much as me. And we know that her love of animals was legendary. You've heard about Wrigley Shay, okay, but do you know how Wrigley Shay came to be? Oh, maybe not, I'll tell you. So, the girls went to Hudson to buy some Spotted Cow. The drink, the beer, not the bovine. And they came home with what they said was a purse dog. Problem is that that purse dog had paws like this big. So it was going to take a mighty purse to hold that dog. So that, of course, is Wrigley Shay. And if it is true that all dogs go to heaven, I'm sure they're having an awesome time with their new playmate. Okay, you also heard that Janel liked her pranks. And it is legendary. We've heard from things when she was a child and pranking. With us, it started at my organization's annual fundraiser. there was a silent auction, and there was a picture of this weirdest, goofiest goat. I hope the winner isn't in the crowd here, because it was goofy. But anyway, a coworker came up to me and said, "Hey, Jan, I see you bid on a goat." And I said, "No." "Yeah, you did. So she took me over there, and sure as hell, I said, "Sure as heck, I bid on that goat twice." Because I was out there, and then I did again. Well, it didn't take much to figure out whose handwriting it was. Thanks, girls. But we were just lucky that there was a highly motivated bidder who really wanted that goat, and she got it. But in my office, from that point forward, they were not Janel and Janarm, because that wasn't their names. They weren't Karen and Janel, they were simply the Goat Girls. So that's how they know them. Now, we did retaliate, and you've heard some of the things, the back and forths. Our retaliation had to do with their Aikens wall. It's a big wall, it's a big art installation on their walls, and there was no baby picture. Someday we'll tell you about the baby picture, but that was our retaliation, was finding a baby picture to fit in that slot that we didn't have for Janel. If you look at the slideshow closely, you'll see what baby picture we selected. As far as, I can't recount all of the pranks we did, but as far as the super bright baby Jesus in our Christmas display goes, my understanding is that they went to Menards, got an extra set of lights for the baby Jesus, put it up inside, and then just giggled all the way to our house where they plugged it in. It was like, it was from Mars, you could see it, I suppose. Yeah, the gnome infestation, the red light district dancer, all kinds of things. Janel and I shared a love of tools. We love them. We both believed that we needed to maintain a large inventory of tools, even if they sat unused, because you never know when you're going to need it. You best well have it. And she loved projects. She was always happy to help her friends get things done, like, I don't know, having 120 of us in her yard for our wedding celebration with a big tent and a dance floor and everything in their perfectly manicured lawn. So we love that about her. And she loved projects, and that girl could put the labor in Labor Day weekend like nobody's business. So some of you may have known that Janel and I have done projects, and we have this thing we do together. You can call it the "oh crap" principle if you'd like, but it goes something like this. So we'll be working, and one of us will notice there's a fault in our logic somewhere. And we go, "oh crap," or a stronger word. And then the other one will go, "no, that's fine, oh crap." We just see it. We don't have to say it, we were able to see it. And that usually involved a trip to Menards. And speaking of Menards, that brings another love of Janel's, and that would be shopping, which she called retail therapy. I was lucky enough to have gone on a few Black Friday excursions with her. We'd do our pre-planning on Thanksgiving, circling all the items that we needed to get the next day. Then we'd set our plan of attack, like what are we getting first? What are we going to do? Where are we going to, once you get in the store, where are we going to go? Getting into Menards around 6 a.m., we didn't want to be first, we were okay with that, but get around Menards around 6 a.m., we'd look not only for a parking place, but a cart, because the carts were in short supply. So, as we were driving along, one of us would keep an eye out for somebody heading back to their car with their cart, and jump out of the car, and then stalk them like a tiger to its prey. They no sooner closed the hatchback on their SUV than we were there, "I'll take that back for you, sir." So, the store itself was always just a hot mess, but we found it exhilarating, and we always found quality items that we simply had to have. At least that's what we told our wives. After Menards, we'd hit Starbucks and then work our way down Robert Street, Target, Lowe's, Home Depot, never Burlington though, too messy. And then back home around noonish, I would just collapse, but Janel would somehow manage a second wind, and either she or you or she and Karen would hit Southdale or the mall or any other place. She was a shopper. When it came to shopping, Janel had game. And speaking of games, another love that you all heard about, she loves her games. soccer, basketball, bowling, football, baseball, fantasy sports, racing, golf, cowboy golf, card games, dice game, board game, electronic games. If it had a sport or a game, she was all in. And the fun we had, I'll never forget the times that we spent with family and friends, or just the Fab Four, playing Cards Against Humanity or Catchphrase, and we would just laugh and laugh until we cried. If we were on the good furniture, of course, there had to be a towel underneath us. Wrapping up, there are two places in the world where so many of these loves of Janel Aikens intersected. And the one is the State Fair, because it has it all. Shopping, food, beer, music, animals, games, tools, people, food, shopping, spices, beer. To us, it was a glorious spectacle of humanity, and we go 2 to 3 times each year. We will certainly miss it. The other place where Janel's loves intersected was home, with Carmen, the love of her life. And farewell, my friend, and may the force be with you.
Thank you, Jan. I know we haven't run out of Janel stories. And so now I would like to open the floor to those who have a story that they can share with the rest of us. If you'd like to share a memory at this time, please come on up to the front.
Janel and I met for the first time in high school. We're the same age, we're 6 months apart, but we are 1 year in school apart. So she was the one who took me under her wing. I was a sophomore, she was a junior, and she knew I played sports, and so she said, "Hey, I heard you play basketball, why don't you come out and play basketball?" And that's where our friendship started. I don't even remember what was said. We were always friends as far as I can remember. We had a coach that liked giving people nicknames, and then that was the name that we would be known by for a long time. Who would know that I would be known by decades? But she was Houston, because that's where she came from. So everybody called her Houston. I hear she's called Jay now, but when I was growing up, she was Houston. And my coach called me Shadow, and the reason I was Shadow is because she and I were always together, and I was her shadow. So for decades, I've been known as Shadow because of Janel. I have so many stories to share, so I would like to share some of the antics that she played with me and that we played together. We are from Utah. Or we lived in Utah, and I'm a Mormon girl. I was a Mormon girl. I no longer practice, but at the time, no beer. And she said, "Hey, let's go get some non-alcoholic beer." I thought we were being so crazy and wild. So we got some beer, and we had 2 little cups, and she was the one who was holding the beer, and she'd pour some in my cup and her cup. And then that was the first time I'd ever had any taste of beer. And it was shitty. It was horrible. And I told her that, and I was like, "Oh, this is the worst stuff I've ever had." And she's like, "I know, but it's fun." And then she said, "But we've got to drink the whole can." So she poured in, and I'm just trying to choke it down, and she was giggling, and I thought we were sharing the can. No, she pretended like she was pouring it in her cup, but I drank that whole damn can. And as she giggled. But another thing is the milkshake incident, as Kim, her sister. I did some things with Kim. You know, I was over at Janel's house a lot, watching movies, and her sister Kim and we would go out and do things. Well, we went to a place called Burger Bar, and that is like the hot place in Roy, Utah. The hamburgers are like the size of a paper plate. Not really, but almost. And so, but they are also known for their shakes. And she got a banana shake, and remember that because that plays into the story. So we were eating our shakes and our hamburgers and fries, and then we jumped back in her blue Malibu. Yeah, that her dad had fixed up. And we're headed down the road, and there was an accident or something, and so it was slow and go, stop and go, stop and go. Well, she had her shake, and she was the driver, and she was drinking it, or eating it while we were stop and go. And I'm in the back seat, and I was getting nervous that while she would take a drink, she wasn't watching the traffic and the car stopping in front of her. And so she did it a few times, and I was getting more and more anxious as she was doing this, and the cars would stop. And then the one time, I knew we were going to hit the car in front of us. So this is not my normal mode of operation, but I screamed, and then I got in crash position. It's amazing what goes through your mind in just like a split second. But I screamed, and I got in crash position, and I shot. I was already laying on the back, because we don't wear seatbelts back in the day. So I was like, I hurried and laid down, and then I shot right into the back of the back seat, because we stopped so quick. I thought we'd hit, and so I was now on the ground, and I remember looking up, and Kim was looking. They both had their arms over, and they were looking down at me, both Kim and Janel, and they're like, and I was like, did we hit it? What are you talking about? I was like, did we hit the car? And they're like, no, we didn't hit the car. And then Janel, she turns right around and she puts her arm over the steering wheel. She just hangs over it like this. Because apparently when I screamed, she swallowed that whole banana. And so she was just like trying to recover, and I have not laughed like that. I mean, we laughed for miles and miles, like gut-wrenching laughing. So practical jokes. Yes, I was broken. That's where I broke my teeth in, or my gums in, was with Janel and practical jokes. One thing that we did is after Christmas, back in the day when most people did live Christmas trees, we would wait until they'd throw them out. Like there was a day that people throw them out knowing that they'd get picked up. We would wait until it was dark, and we would take my parents' station wagon, and we would go pick up as many as we could fit in and on top of that Ford Falcon station wagon that we didn't use seatbelts on. So we crammed them in, pine tar, everything, and we would go pick our favorite coach of whatever sport it was, and we would reset them up. And it had been snowing, right? So you could just like set it in the snow. So that when they woke up, they had like a whole Christmas tree, a whole yard of Christmas trees. I feel bad about it now because we never picked them up. I mean, we let them But that was one thing that we liked doing. Another thing is the beer can pyramid. We picked another coach that we really liked. A friend had a ton of beer cans. I didn't drink, so we built a huge 7-foot by almost whatever foot. And we just snickered to ourselves, waiting for that coach to open the door. Who would ever expect to see a pyramid or a beer cans in front of your house? Well, with Janel, yeah. So, how about flowers from the cemetery? We knew that they were going to be throwing out flowers. It was Memorial Weekend, and they're like, hey, the flowers are going to be thrown out. So it's not like we were taking it because it was going to be taken anyway, right? So we went late at night and we picked up as many flowers as we could fit in that Ford Falcon, and we put them in front of our next favorite coach's house. I feel bad about that now because I don't know. I think we could have gotten in trouble. I think we could have gone to jail or something for that. But what I learned from Janel is, or what we did is, we did it because we could. And so these are experiences that we did because we could. Her car broke down one time when I was with her blue Malibu. We could have called somebody. It wasn't back when we had cell phones. We could have called somebody, but hey, we pushed that damn car for a mile or more because we could. Because let's just do it. We got to get this thing moved. Let's go. Tubing down the river with Janelle's mom, Judy, and her friend Donna. They got tired of tubing. We tubed a lot too when I was younger. We tubed a lot. So Judy and Donna got tired and they went and just got out of the river and went hitchhiking back. Well, we weren't going to hitchhike. We were going to walk back. But we picked a field and we got chased by this group of horses. And we were running, trying to get away from them. I guess we could have gone with her parents, but the horses were chasing us. We were running. And then we jumped the fence, just some fence, to get away from the horses, only to be met by 2 farm dogs. Oh, I knew we had done so many fun things and just spontaneous. Hey, let's just walk. Hey, the horses, let's just jump the fence. Just, it was fun doing things with her. Just one more story and then I'll finish, I'm sorry. I could go on and on, but Laker football game. We had tickets, of course we were students, we could have gone and used our ticket to get in, but no. There was a fence to jump. So, and it was like, I don't know, a good 6 feet, and it was really pointy at the top. We had tickets, we could have walked in. But we climbed that fence and we jumped over. She ripped her brand new pair of sweats. I remember not being happy about that. Why did we do it? Because we could. That's my experience with Janel. Janel did it because she could. And she could do a lot of things. And that's my memories of Janel.
Thank you, Shadow. Who else has a memory they'd like to share? I feel like I'm a teacher in a math class. Okay, all right. Well, I will say that I understand that public speaking is not for everyone, but the memories and stories that you have inside of you need to come out somehow. So today, after our service, you're invited to a luncheon at the Fireside Lounge, and I would strongly encourage you to share those memories with someone who may not know them, may not know that story, so that we're sharing those memories and keeping that legacy moving forward. And it doesn't just end today. In the coming weeks, the coming months, anytime a story reminds you or a moment reminds you of a Janel story, reach out to someone close to you, close to Janel, and share those stories. It will mean so much to hear them again. It will mean so much. Our next song has become a modern classic. Leonard Cohen wrote this song and went through almost 80 draft verses to get to the final product. At one point in his writing process, he was reduced to sitting on the floor of a hotel in his underwear, literally banging his head on the floor. It was a true labor of love that conveys both melancholy and awe, somber spirituality, and jaded sensuality. Fellow Canadian Katie Lang said that she believes this song is about the struggle between having human desire and searching for spiritual wisdom. It's being caught between those two places. Let's listen now to her version of Hallelujah.
Heard there was
Next, I'd like to invite Brody, Jan, Kimberly, and Kirsten to the front to share the words of Robert Frost. This is the road not taken.
Two roads diverged in the yellow wood, and so I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth.
Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as far as that passing there had worn them, really about the same.
And both that morning equally lay, and leaves no steps had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubt if I should ever come back.
I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
Those lines by Robert Frost really feel like Janel to me. Right away, we can feel the pull of the earth in this poem, the whispering invitation from nature to escape, to unwind, to stop and smell the roses or the azaleas. What else does it mean to take the road less traveled by? In part, I think it means daring to be different. It means trusting yourself. It means opening yourself up to new experiences, not with fear or worry, but with courage and excitement. The narrator of this poem is present with these experiences, but also isn't diving headfirst rashly. The narrator considers these options and chooses the one that resonates the most. Janel did just that. She chose her own path. She cultivated her own happiness. But now, here we are, bereft of her presence, trying to find a way to live without her. We are left with the things that we know and the things that we hope. We know that she is finally at rest, free from struggles, free from pain, free from debilitating cancer treatments. She doesn't have to be brave anymore. She doesn't have to fight. Our hope now is that she is reunited in some way with those who have gone before us. We hope that her release from her body has given her relief and renewed her ability to do the things she loved, the experiences that cancer robbed her of. We hope that she is running, playing, laughing, bowling, relaxed, and unburdened. We assume she has found the beach and a beer and is driving a hard bargain for a t-shirt or a souvenir. Now that she has rejoined the fabric of the universe, we hope that she is watching and guiding us. This hope is the comfort that may help us as we work to live in a world without her, a world with a huge Janel-shaped hole in it. The world will never be the same without her. But everyone who could call her a friend and family is better for having her in their lives, even if it meant losing her. Our final song has a powerful personal story. Melissa Etheridge, singer, songwriter, guitarist, activist, is a platinum certified, Grammy-winning star. It can be easy for us to think of celebrities as immune from the struggles and challenges us lowly other people face. But Melissa felt a lump in her breast in 2004, was diagnosed with breast cancer, and underwent surgery and chemotherapy. The experience inspired Melissa to write this song, a powerful anthem about perseverance, courage, and what motivates us to keep going, no matter how hard it gets. Here's I Run for Life.
Well, the pain
have noticed when you arrived some dragonfly charms? If you didn't have a chance to take one, please take one on the way out. And keep it in remembrance of Janel. Dragonflies have symbolic significance in so many cultures. They symbolize courage, inner strength, transformation, elegance, and self-realization. They have a second set of wings for stability and support. They have iridescent wings and bodies that are beautiful and agile. They are capable flyers, able to glide gracefully along the surface of the water looking for food, but they also engage in aerial dogfights to protect their territory. There are lessons that we can learn from dragonflies. For the vast majority of its life, a dragonfly lives as a nymph or naiad. They may live for up to 5 years, molting up to 17 times in the process of their nymph life. Transformation is fundamental to the existence of a dragonfly. When we see a mature dragonfly, what we recognize as a dragonfly, we are seeing the culmination of years of growth and change. And most species, as mature dragonflies, live for less than a month, or sometimes as little as a few days. Their adult life is fleeting. So it's no wonder that dragonflies also symbolize living in the moment and living life to its fullest. Tomorrow is never promised for a dragonfly, but we always have today. When you hold this dragonfly, let it remind you of Janel's strength, her maturity, her perseverance. Let it remind you to live as Janel did, with grace and courage in the present moment. Let's do it, she said. Let's do it. Let it remind you to live fully, here and now, and generously share your love with everyone around you. Let it remind you of the transformations you may have undergone to live fully as your authentic, beautiful, iridescent self. Let it remind you that Janel's body has undergone its final transformation, but that her spirit remains in all of you to carry forward as her legacy. Share that legacy with others. Share that love with others. And Janel will never die. Please join me by repeating the refrain, "We remember her." In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of the winter, we remember her. In the opening of buds and in the warmth of summer, we remember her. In the rustling of leaves and beauty of fall, we remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember her. When we are lost and sick of heart, we remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember her. So long as we live, she too shall live, for she is now a part of us. We remember her. Before we end our time together today, Karn has asked me to share these words of thanks with you. I want to say thank you to the people who helped Janel and me through this extremely difficult and arduous journey of her metastatic breast cancer. I first want to thank our Livio palliative care team of Kristen, Kate, and Katie. We never would have made it this far without your help and support. You always just listened to Janel and honored her wishes with no judgment. Secondly, I want to thank my supervisor, Terry, aka number 5, and direct Livio colleagues, Diana and Pei Ying. I appreciate you just being there for me. I want to thank our close friends, Jackie and Jan, for always being there for me and Janel, no questions asked. I want to thank Mandy for taking Janel to many oncology appointments and just sitting with Janel. I would like to thank Janel's family for making the multiple trips from California and Utah, providing their love and support for their aunt and sister. Lastly, I need to thank my family, my brother-in-law Butch, who would come over at the drop of a hat to fix our grill, mow the lawn, go to the dump, or whatever needed to be done. I want to thank my mom, who would come over to clean, AKA Mary Maids, make some dinner or baked goods, and or drive Janel to radiation. I could not ask for a better mom. And of course, my sister Kim, who helped whenever we asked by taking Janel to an oncology appointment, cooking, cleaning, organizing, to the nth degree. But there are really no words to describe the tireless hours she spent helping me with Janel over the past 2 weeks especially. Kim, you are truly selfless and amazing. Finally, thank you to anyone I missed. I'm so grateful to you all. Janel Aikens. So where do we go from here? I mean, apart from literally going to the fireside lounge at 1282 South Robert Street.
1288.
Oh, what?
1288.
1288.
I like it.
Well, we carry on tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow with as much love and peace and clarity as we can muster from day to day. We believe in our strength and courage to carry us through the hills and valleys ahead. And we know that we are not alone, even in the darkness of night, mostly thanks to everything Janel secretly painted glow in the dark. May the days to come be filled with an increasing tranquility, and may our memories of Janel be a blessing and a comfort to us. This is our wish, our prayer, and our hope. Please take this blessing with you as we depart. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Let us go in peace.